Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to Round the Clock Cricket with me, Rahul. We have Ayan, Amit, and Sudip here. On a Sunday, we will decide and discuss on a very important topic that's plaguing Indian cricket for some time, especially the fans. And we basically are, as fans and as analysts also, we are pretty hurt and perplexed also to know uh, what we are going to discuss. Basically, uh, the last 6 months for Indian cricket red ball has not been great. And today on a holiday, we will discuss a particular gentleman who is at the helm of affairs. We will look at deeply at the different strategies applied by him, and we'll also look at the options available for the road ahead and what led to such decisions being taken. And also, not to a great extent, we'll also look at the situation behind which he became the overwhelming head of the situation. So we're talking about Gautam Gambhir, who's the head coach of Indian cricket team for the last 1 year, 1 month. He was appointed on July 24. And although he did win the Champions Trophy, but his red ball credentials he came on the back of a mentor win for KKR in IPL 2024. He was also a KKR captain into 2012 and 2014. So white ball credentials, great. No red ball credentials, and we lost New Zealand 0-3, which is a series loss for 12 after 12 years. It was a whitewash. We had 1-3 against Australia, which was a real sad loss. And we just by the scruff of the neck, we managed to hold England 2-2. In spite of a great batting performance, a lot of questions are asked, and we're trying to solve and understand and look at those questions today. So I will start off with Amit, then Ayan, and last Sudip, and then we'll move around again in the same circle with the same set of questions. So my first question to Amit is, Gautam Gambhir's selection came on the back of a non-availability of Mahela Jayawardene and Stephen Fleming, because they were the first coaches to be discussed by BCC, and he was appointed after the non-availability of two of them. What is your take, Amit, on Gautam Gambhir as a red ball coach? My question is very careful because we know this is a sensitive topic. What is your take on Gautam Gambhir as a red ball coach, one? And where do you think Gautam Gambhir is going? Right or wrong, we don't have a definite answer, but what do you think are the reflections of 0-3, 1-3, and 2-2? For you, it can be different for Ayan and Sudip. So for two questions. One, what do you think overall as a coach? I'm not going to the personality trait that will follow in the next round. As a coach, what do you think of Gautam Gambhir? You can think about it, one. And two, in these three series that we had, 0-3, of course, one Bangladesh, but Bangladesh we're not taking, they are the minnows. So 0-3, 1-3, and 2-2. So your overall comprehensive strategical take on the three series. Over to you, Amit. As a red ball coach first, and then the three series strategical take.
Yeah, good afternoon. What I feel in the last few months, like, first of all, when Gautam Gambhir was appointed instead of Mahela Jayawardene and Stephen Fleming, the first thing that came up to my mind is that he is not a trained coach. He has never been trained on anything, any particular coaching level. He hasn't gone through any coaching class or anything. He was basically the mentor for Lucknow Super Giants for a couple of seasons, being hired by Sanjeev Goenka, and later on he kind of moved to KKR, where he kind of reunited with Shah Rukh Khan and Venki Mysore, and he did it remarkably well as a white ball. And based on his performances or whatever uh, coaching, whatever his inputs and performance were as a coach, he was subsequently being elevated as a Indian Indian cricket team head coach. Now, I don't want to get into his white ball game, because I think he did a fairly, reasonable job in that. But coming back to his red ball kind of coaching stint, I don't think it has been a smooth one. First of all, the series against Bangladesh, we will not consider that 2-0 over. Though I do see, if you ask me, the second test where India actually won inside 2 days against Bangladesh because it was rain affected. So the approach that Gautam Gambhir and maybe Rohit Sharma took, it was heartening to see that we can actually win a test match inside 2 days. So though they were minnows, but still I would say that I mean, that performance cannot be forgotten. Now, coming back to the New Zealand series, where I personally feel that it was probably the worst performance ever by an Indian cricket team in the last probably 29 years, because I have been following cricket since 1996. And that is, I mean, I think India were got whitewashed by South Africa 2-0 in 2001, 2002. And they lost again to Australia in 2-1, I think in 2004-5. And then they lost to England 2-1 in 2012-13 series, which was the initial series for Joe Root, the batter. So these are the three series that I can remember in the last 30 years almost, where India actually lost. Now, this New Zealand series actually was an eye opener to me. I mean, I could not believe what I could, I mean, what I would have liked to see. The part-time off spinners from New Zealand, the part-time bowlers, they took so much of wickets, and they were not even a half the bowler of, let's say, Ravichandran Ashwin or maybe like Ravindra Jadeja, but they actually ran through the India's entire middle order like anything. So Rand Turner what flopped. I personally felt so. India doesn't play spin well. See, as a coach, I'm not saying he's bad or good right now. What I'm saying is, in because Indian players right now do not play good amount of domestic cricket, so they actually do not know the art of playing spin. Now, had this been played when Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Divyas would have played against same New Zealand side, I think the result would have been completely the reverse. So it would be 3-0 or it would have been 3-0. But let's not go into that. Now coming, so after the dismal series in India against New Zealand, India toured Australia, where I again think like because of some tactical blunders, India lost the series 2-1. Though they won the match in part, I think India actually had a great chance of winning, or let's say at least drawing the series in Australia, especially considering the fact that Sydney was their best chance after part. India could have actually made proof, but because of some, should I say, Bumrah being forced to play out matches, we didn't have the second backup and backup seat, and India lost. So lost by 3-1. Now, uh, those two performances, if I just look at it, they were not, I mean, what should I say? They were absolutely, I mean, Australia by no means of imagination in that particular series was looking great. Had it been some other team, I would have, I mean, I know definitely that the result would have been a little bit different as compared to 3-1 loss. Now, the last series that I just now followed, I mean, we all followed. So 2-2, India actually had a very good chance. I personally feel that India actually had a good chance of actually winning the series. If you see the first match, which happened in Leeds, India could have given England a target of more than 400. They lost. Why? Because Indian tailender did not contribute. Now, this actually made Gautam Gambhir to lengthen our batting line. So, test match, as we all know, or whatever I have understood in my last, let's say, 30 years of watching and playing cricket, whatever it is, it's a game of specialists. Now, if you keep bits and pieces together like Akur, Nitish Reddy, I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that particularly in circumstances we need people who will be like specialists. Now, if you play Nitish Reddy and Shardul Thakur instead of, let's say, Harshit Mishra, Harshit Rana, or someone like that, then what's the point of carrying them? You are carrying 18 member playing squad in an abroad or in a foreign tour. So if you are carrying them, what's the point of having them in squad if you do not play them? And if you see the what happened after Leeds, India lost, and in Lords they actually won without Bumrah. But I felt that Lords Test match, India did reasonably well with whatever resources they had. But after that, I personally felt that we lacked penetration in the play, uh, especially when Kuldeep was around and he was not playing the entire series. So some of the what should I say? Some of the selection policies have to be like anyone else. Uh, but I mean, you know what? I personally feel that we should give him maybe one or two more series. Why? Because he is not a trained coach, first of all, and some of the decisions that, or let's say some of the strategic decisions he has made, that is not according to, let's say, a textbook kind of a formula. So that's home series against West Indies and South Africa, which I personally feel that the pitches that the Gautam Gambhir is going to ask the curators to prepare, and how Indian players cope up to that, that will actually decide the fate of Gautam Gambhir as a rainfall coach. This is my point of view. I might be wrong, but this is what I feel.
Thank you,
Over to
Amit.
you.
Yeah, so basically 2 points, and you summed it up very well. One is his coaching ability. More than that, his strategies are questioned, which I agree, and that is the reason we're having this discussion. One, and two, he has made continuous some wrong errors, and he has made some wrong moves continuously, and they have not paid off, because his basic way of looking at cricket is from a T20 angle, where he play bits and pieces, which I also agree the same. So I think very well summed up, Amit. Over to you, Ayan. 2 points again. Your overall thought on Gambhir, and what do you think of the last three series of his coaching ability? Over to you, Ayan.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Rahul. So basically, Gautam Gambhir has always, the way I view him, is a person who is shot beyond his standards, in the sense that beyond his abilities. As a batsman, he was, I think, limited technically. He had issues, against the swinging ball especially. But in spite of that, what really I appreciated in him was his ability to fight, in the sense that his thing, and that is symbolized especially, I think, in the South Africa series of 2010, where in the Cape Town test, Newlands test, where I think that was the series where Dale Steyn was at his best. Sachin and Tendulkar and Gambhir stitched this extremely, useful partnership, when I think South Africa batted first and scored some 360 odd runs, which was a very, very large score in that pitch, on that pitch. And India were in a bit of trouble. India's batting lineup, of course, was that time really good, but at the same time, the Saurav had gone. So Dravid, Lakshman, Sachin, that era, they were, I mean, at the late stages of their careers. Yet Sachin, I think, played one of his best innings ever abroad. And Gambhir, he made, I think, 93 or something like that. But he's played more than 200 balls, I think 220 something balls.
And also the
And
series Ayan against New Zealand, which is a standout series for Gambhir, 2009, the year before that.
that
Yeah,
was
the
there.
double hundred. Yeah.
Knock that I remember is that against Steyn and Mokel, where he took lot of balls on his bodies, because it was a very bouncy pitch. It was a very sort of green pitch that was alive, and he had issues in his technique, but he still, I mean, his the decision that he would not give up his wicket at any cost and fight. That is what I really appreciated. In fact, the next phase I can tell you that as a batsman, which I really saw, was that was one of my very disappointing, test matches as a spectator, when I went to the Eden Gardens in 2012. That was our Alistair Cook's England team. And that was the match where it was Dhoni who was the captain. Of course, in South Africa, Dhoni was also the captain. 2012 match, India hopelessly lost. Okay, and I was witness to a sort of batting failure that I did not sort of associate with the Indian team then. So Sehwag and Gambhir played. I think when they started the day, and both played very solidly. And then Sehwag was out first ball after lunch, bowled by Swan. Gambhir, in that innings, again he stood out as one person who was continuously, that is war of attrition. Test cricket is finally a war of attrition. And Gautam Gambhir, I really felt even in that innings, where after he was dismissed, India just collapsed like a pack of cards without any fight. Absolutely. And that was something which I do not even recall ever seeing. I'll say this, I'm as you said at the beginning. I mean, we are seeing test matches for the last 40 years. I do not recall an Indian team. Of course, I've seen Malcolm Marshall et al. In 1983. They were,
Same here, yeah.
If you compare with England in 2012, that was a different level. Marshall Holding, Roberts was there as well, Winston Davis, etc. That and Marshall himself was enough, right? And so there, after even in that series, I saw fight. But what happened at the Eden Gardens that day in 2012, I will never forget. In fact, that was the last test match I've ever seen at Eden Gardens. I was so disappointed. And that lack of fight, unfortunately, has plagued Indian test cricket since then. Except for a few series like the Australia series in 2021.
Yeah, so you
where
set up the background very well. So, Ayan,
Yeah.
coming to the two questions.
So,
So, what
yeah,
is your take
that
on
is what I'm
Gambhir as
trying
a
to say,
coach?
as a
Yeah,
coach,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I have seen as a coach, I do not expect more from Gambhir other than his ability to get the fight back into the Indian team. So in this,
Okay.
because I do not think he is technically trained, he makes completely baffling decisions in the sense
Correct.
that the way he got in these players, especially this 125 kilometers pace bowler. I mean, that is remarkable, right? I mean, I do not understand how in this entire country you not find a bowler who is probably slightly faster than this chap.
Yeah,
So
we'll come
what
in the
I saw
second round
New
into the
Zealand,
discussion strategy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll
I
come
just
into that
want to say
separately. Yeah.
that New Zealand, that 0-3 loss, I shall correct Amit in the sense that we lost 2-0 against Hansi Cronje's South Africa in 99 2000, but that was a two-test series. Okay,
Correct.
3-0 in all three is the only time India has
Time
ever lost at
ever
home.
lost at
Ever
home.
lost.
Correct. Ever lost.
That
That's what
for me is the
that hit.
nadir of Indian cricket. Nadir.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
if this
That hurt
was
Indian cricket very
20
badly.
years, 20 years back, the whole team, half of the team with the coach would have been sacked.
Exactly.
That
We
did
were
not
discussing
happen.
before you came in. Yeah,
Yes,
the
that
team would
did
have
not
gone.
happen. That did
Hmm.
not happen. And that I am not sure. I mean, I was really, because this is something that as somebody who's been passionately involved in Indian cricket, I'm not ready to accept. So, however, things have changed now. We have seen Indian Test captains lose 0-8 in 8 matches abroad, and nothing happened to them.
Nothing
We have
happened.
seen
Correct.
India surrender hopelessly under their superstar captains, and nothing happened. So I would say this was a continuation, and I would have really, I had almost given up, right? Because this is what after what 1932 India played the first time. After almost 90 years of cricket, you lose 3-0 at home. I had lost hope.
So
However, saying that,
you are
I must
agreeing
say,
with Amit. You are agreeing with Amit that as a coach, which all agree that he is not trained and that is
but
baffling, that
but
is
but
hurting India. That is hurting India.
but there is a
Yeah.
but, Rahul. I did see a semblance of fight in this last Test series. I
No.
did see that.
Okay.
This 2-all draw in the last two tests, India fought. And abroad, that is something which I believe is sort of as a trait which we have been missing for a long time.
But do
So
you
if
think?
Gautam is able to get back, Gambhir is able to get back that trait of India's, everybody being committed to the cause and fighting, that might help India in the long run. There are technical problems a lot, but that team playing as a whole without towering egos to distract them, that I think is somewhere Gautam Gambhir can be useful.
Oil,
Okay.
a very pertinent question because in general, we all three believe that Gautam Gambhir, the Indian team drew 2-2 mainly because of the individual performance of Siraj and PK. Wherever
Correct.
India won, I'm just coming to it. Give me a sec. And it was nothing to due to the strategic brilliance of the acumen of Gambhir. So you are different. I mean, you are in a different opinion with us. You are saying no. This fighting ability is because of Gambhir's persona, and that has got into the side.
What? Because I was, in fact, if you really ask me, Rahul, I think the draw in the fourth test, for me, that was bigger than the victory in the last test. Because you played on almost like what, 150 or 140 overs.
150
And
overs.
well, I would not still put this in the same category as Sydney in 2021. Because that
Correct.
the bowling was far, far better.
Far better.
Remember, this was probably the weakest English bowling side we have ever
Yes.
played.
I
Ever
have
played.
seen in my
As
40
strong as
years, I
that.
think this is the weakest.
This
Yeah,
is the
yeah. There's no
weakest
doubt.
English bowling side,
The
right?
horrible
But
bowling wicket.
even then, the fact that batsmen did not throw away their wickets, that they actually stuck that they actually fought. And and so one more thing that I feel is important, probably India has been playing these bits and pieces players because we have not had a genuine all-rounder, which has really hurt us. Jadeja is somewhat like that, but at the same time, you must remember that Jadeja is on the way out, right? He's at the fag end of his career. But I think in Washington Sundar, you have somebody who is again a very, very gutsy player, and his performances both against Australia, against a very, very potent attack, and even this time, I think that really shows him that he's, at least for red ball cricket
So,
as a batsman, he's good.
Ayan, you have agreed with us on first point. The second point, you were saying no. This 2-2 has certainly, to an extent, Gambhir is responsible. Very well.
To an
We'll
extent.
come to you on the rain too. Thank you, Ayan. Now to Sudip, the same two questions. One, Gambhir as a red ball coach, your take. And two, what is your opinion on these three distraught series? But my personal take is, if you ask me as an analyst, I will differentiate with, I differ from Ayan, that India is going down the drain because of a very, very hallucinated, if I use that word, a very hallucinated coach who does not understand the red ball game at all. Over to you, Sudip.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rahul, because you have to admit that, Gambhir was not the first choice coach. The first choice coach was somebody else. And, just because, he was or they were not available, he was selected as a coach, on a I think 3-year term, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I think he does not have much credential, as far as coaching is concerned, except for, the odd, IPL stints and the the T20 format. And so I think, at the moment, I think there should be two coaches, one for the white ball and for the red ball, you know. I personally feel, but again, then I think the selectors will give Gautam Gambhir at least the home series, the couple of home series, and then they will take a decision. I mean,
Sudip, my question was very clear. I mean, if you can come on the question part, I understand. So first, your take on Gambhir as a coach, one. And number two is these three series, how do you look at it as with Gambhir's strategical point? We'll come into the strategy in our second round. So what is your
yeah,
take on Gambhir as a coach? You said, yes, agree with all of three. And the second part in these three series, which Ayan, Amit described very clearly, and both Ayan also. So what is your take on these three series, 0-3, 1-3, and 2-2?
I think
What did you think as Gambhir, as a coach?
it was a total failure in management, team management. As far as these three series is concerned, it was,
That's a very good point. I think we'll have to delve on that. Very good point. Man
to-
management was
to-
a failure, yes.
total man management failure. That is what I thought. And, the losing 0-3 against New Zealand, with their part-time spinners, that was really shocking, There is no excuse for this kind of performance. I mean, I agree with you on one thing that, see, one thing you have to accept that, a coach is as good as the team, is as good as the team. But then, you have to manage your resources properly, unless and then what is your duty if you can't manage your resources? I mean, that is not an excuse. And even in Australia, even after taking the lead, this meekly surrendered for the rest of the series. And as far as this England series is concerned, this has given a breather, to Gautam Gambhir, because his job was on the line. The way India was,
Yes, I think the Oval Series has given him a breather. Let's accept
it's a
it. It
breather.
has
It's a
given him a,
breather. It's
yeah.
a breather, and the West Indies series will be see. West Indies we are expected to win unless something drastically goes wrong. The South Africa will be a test, a big test for Gambhir. But still, I feel the selectors will persist. For after the New Zealand series comes, and that will be a very challenging series, and that could decide his future, Gautam Gambhir's future.
Yeah, because technically, see, if India goes for a
Technically,
separate
he's not
coach,
equipped, for a red
yeah,
ball coach.
and also as a technical thing, if BCCI wants to go away with Gambhir without sacking him, I think financially, anyways, BCCI is not bothered to pay him the money, whatever he wants is
And
12
I
crore,
tell
I think
you
is his
one
annual salary.
psychological aspect, I'll just would like to point it out,
Yeah,
although
yeah,
a bit controversial. But see,
yeah.
this is his lack of credential as a red ball coach that makes him more insecure, and that's why he wants people around him who will listen to him.
So I
He's not
think this is a
comfortable with
point
the
which
seniors.
I have also made. And this is where we are now coming. Thanks, Sudip. This was a brilliant point. We are coming to it now with Amit again. Strategy and man management. Gautam, I'm very clear to you, Amit, on my question. Ravichandra Ashwin retired in a way which shook Indian cricket, just shook Indian cricket. Out first test he played, second test he doesn't play. Rohit Sharma comes in, he plays. He gives it's a player like Ravi Ashwin who scores 100 against New Zealand and Bangladesh. A player who's given a guarantee that he will play 3 out of 5 test matches, retires, and we don't know the reason yet. We don't know the reason why he retired. So that is our point. So my question to you, Amit, is and Sudip pointed out brilliantly. That's a brilliant question because we have to dwell on this point. Is Gautam Gambhir's man management lacking? See, I'll tell you, Virat would have to go. I was also the first person for a long 5 years, I was saying in Facebook, and Ayan also opined on my Facebook a few years back. Virat Kohli's performance in Red Bull, he was just plain lucky. 32 test matches, 39 test matches, 1,990 runs. You do not get in any side in the world. This is not India. It doesn't rocket science. So that's one. The manner in which he was pushed, because we now know very clearly, because Sachin Hattangadi had come in our show, which Ayan was not then in our team, and he had very clearly said, Sudip was in that show, that Virat was wanted to become captain for the England's Australia series, which he was not given. And because Virat wanted the captaincy, he was not given. He was told by board that he has to go as a player because that time Gambhir was still riding high, which Ayan said. So Virat, and with an ego that he has, he quit Test cricket. So my question to you, Amit, is twofold again. As a strategist, because in Test cricket you have to strategize. It is not one day. It is not T20. 20 overs, bang, 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 280 runs, you win. As a strategist, do you see Gautam Gambhir lacking? One, that is my question number one, because then Anshul Kamboj not playing Kuldeep, we can do on each topic, we can go one and concising everything, not playing Arshdeep, not playing Anshul, playing Anshul, not playing Kuldeep and not playing Abhimanyu Ishwaran. We'll come to Abhimanyu and on that. So now you tell me that first point, what I'm trying to know from you is, what do you think as his strategy point? Does he have resemblance with Greg Chappell? Now I'm bringing you into troubled waters. I personally feel he has got enough traits to become a Greg Chappell, and which I have written also in my article with Wall. And number two, do you think he's got problems in strategizing? Number one, his man management, very, very good point from Sudip. His man management skills, which lacks points to his tuning as an individual, because Sambaran Banerjee also in our show openly said he has got a one-way traffic like a dictator. So things coming up from specialists, not me, people who have played the game, is that he's a dictator. And he does not like people in ahead of him, over 30, which we call OT players. He tries to get rid of them. He couldn't get rid of Jadeja and KL Rahul, but he could have tried. He wants people around him, जो we call in Hindi, जिसको हम चमचा कहते हैं. So आपसे मेरा सवाल यह है अमित, दो सवाल है. एक है, आपको क्या लगता है कि गौतम गंभीर का जो थिंकिंग पेरिफेरी है ना, आयन इसको ज्यादा समझ पाएंगे क्योंकि वो साइंटिस्ट है, ये जो थिंकिंग हेड उसका है, ये थिंकिंग हेड सही है? और नंबर दो है, उसका स्ट्रेटेजी ऑफ मैन मैनेजमेंट ये इंडिया टीम को हर्ट कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है? ओवर टू यू।
नहीं, पहले तो मुझे जो लगता है गौतम गंभीर का सिमिलरिटी जो है ग्रेग चैपल के साथ, वो मुझे जो लगता है कि ग्रेग चैपल और गौतम गंभीर दोनों सिमिलर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आते हैं कि देयर इज नो सच थिंग कॉल्ड स्टार कल्चर. ठीक है, मुझे ये पहले दिन से लगता है. ठीक है, तो हम जीतेंगे भी साथ साथ, हम हारेंगे भी साथ साथ. दिस इज समथिंग दैट गौतम गंभीर एंड ग्रेग चैपल आर वेरी सिमिलर टू. क्योंकि ग्रेग चैपल जब था, मुझे याद है सचिन तेंदुलकर को भी मतलब वो नहीं छोड़ता था. मतलब अगर एक भी फॉल्ट होता था या फिर कुछ कोई भी मतलब किसी तरह से भी आउट हो जाता था तो उसके पीछे आके बोलता था.
अमित, मैं बीच में टोक रहा हूँ. आपको ये पता है कि ग्रेग चैपल पहला कोच था जो मीडिया में आके खुलासा कर देता था, जो बीसीसीआई के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के खिलाफ था. तो आप मीडिया में बात नहीं कर सकते हो, तो मीडिया में आके बोल देता था कि मैंने सचिन को डांटा है, और सचिन ने अल्टीमेटली जाके बीसीसीआई को कंप्लेन किया. तो ये चीज गौतम गंभीर में भी थोड़ा है, वो बात बोल देता है कि मैं इसको बोलता हूँ, उसको बोलता हूँ.
गौतम गंभीर का जो मुझे लगता है उसका स्टार कल्चर पे छोड़ के और एक चीज में प्रॉब्लम, वो थोड़ा मुझे जो लगता है कि वो थोड़ा यस मैन नेचर का बंदा है. यस मैन मतलब हमारा जो कॉर्पोरेट है, कॉर्पोरेट में मुझे मतलब काफी सारे ऐसे मैनेजर्स बॉसेस मिले हैं कि जाके बोलना पड़ता है कि ये सर आप जो भी बोलेंगे सही है, आपके बात सराखों पे. तो मुझे जो लगता है कि गौतम गंभीर का थोड़ा ऐसा नेचर है जो कि डोमिनेटिंग बोलते हैं हम लोग, बट एट द सेम टाइम उसका जो मतलब नजरियत है कि हम स्टैटिस्टिक्स के लिए नहीं खेलेंगे, हम देश के लिए खेलेंगे, हैप्पी ड्रेसिंग रूम इज अ विनिंग ड्रेसिंग रूम, ये जो सोच प्रोसेस है ये थोड़ा डिफरेंट है। देखिए हम लोग क्योंकि वो स्टार कल्चर के साथ बड़े हुए हैं, कि सचिन तेंदुलकर, राहुल द्रविड़, लक्ष्मण, सौरभ, वीरेंद्र सहवाग, वो हमारे मतलब रॉन्ग क्या बोलते हैं, हमारा जो खून है उसके अंदर घुस गए हैं। हम सोच ही नहीं सकते हैं कि अभी अभी फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम ये जो टेस्ट सीरीज है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम बुमराह हमारे पास कोई स्टार प्लेयर था ही नहीं। गिल अभी तक स्टार बना नहीं है। तो
गिल
एंड आप अगर देखोगे,
ये सीरीज के बाद शायद स्टार बन रहा है, बन
शायद
रहा है,
शायद
शायद
शायद,
शायद।
बट ही इज नॉट ए स्टार, ही इज नॉट ए स्टार।
कर
प्रिंस बोला जाता है, प्रिंस बोला जाता
हाँ,
है, लेकिन
अभी
ही
अभी
इज
तक
नॉट
स्टार
येट ए
नहीं है।
स्टार। अभी
राइट,
तक स्टार नहीं है। तो
नहीं
ये
है।
चीज हमको सोचना पड़ेगा कि वंस ही बिकम्स ए स्टार, एंड तब तक अगर गौतम रहता है कोच में, मतलब
तब
कोचिंग
तक
में,
रहता है, ये भी
तब
बड़ी
देखना
बात
पड़ता
है,
है कि
तब तक रहता है।
तब देखना पड़ेगा उन लोगों का आपस में कैसे बनता है। क्योंकि फिलहाल जो मुझे लगता है कि गौतम गंभीर एक टीम स्पेशली रेड बॉल में ऐसा बनाना चाहते हैं, जब जो कि सारे यंगस्टर्स हो, जो जिसका भूख बहुत ज्यादा है कि हम देश के लिए कुछ करेंगे। जैसे आयन दा ने पहले ही बताया है कि उसका जो फाइटिंग स्पिरिट है वो कहीं ना कहीं वो अपनी टीम, मतलब मुझे याद है 2009 में शायद नेपियर में 2 दिन वो लगातार बैट करके, उसका वो टेक्निकली साउंड नहीं था, लेकिन उसका जो गट्स था ना, 2 दिन पूरा न्यूजीलैंड में 2 दिन पूरा बैट करके इंडिया को एक मैच ड्रॉ करवाया था, और बाद में हम लोग सीरीज जीते थे न्यूजीलैंड में 2009 में धोनी की कैप्टनसी में। तो वो मुझे लगता है कि जो लास्ट आई थिंक फोर्थ वाला जो स्टेज था, मैनचेस्टर वाला, जहां वॉशिंगटन सुंदर जडेजा ने सेंचुरी किया लास्ट में, मुझे जो लगता है, देखिए वो लोग वशी और सुंदर प्रूवन परफॉर्मर है, पहले भी बहुत सारे मैचेस खेले हैं, लेकिन ऐसा मतलब हम ऐसे नहीं बोल रहे हैं कि गौतम आने के बाद वो फाइटिंग एबिलिटी बन गया है, लेकिन मुझे जो लगता है कि गौतम ऐसा खिलाड़ी को चांस देना चाहते हैं जो कि हो सकता है कि देश के लिए अपना जान भी दे सकते हैं। क्योंकि मतलब बैट करने तो गौतम ना, मुझे लगता है कि वो ऐसे प्लेयर्स को पसंद करते हैं जो अपना मतलब बॉडी को दांव पे लगा पे देश के लिए खेलेंगे। तो मुझे समहाउ लगता है कि गौतम का ये जो चीज है, मुझे ठीक ठीक फॉर द टाइम नहीं, इट लुक्स फाइन, बट वो मैन मैनेजमेंट कैसे करेंगे वो टाइम ही बोल पाएगा, क्योंकि अभी हमारा टेस्ट टीम में उतना स्टार प्लेयर है नहीं। तो वी कैनॉट से कि गौतम गंभीर का मैनेजमेंट स्किल बहुत बढ़िया है या फिर बहुत खराब है। एंड कमिंग बैक टू योर सेकंड क्वेश्चन, आपका सेकंड क्वेश्चन क्या था, मतलब स्ट्रेटेजी।
गौतम गंभीर का मैंने से पहला सवाल तो मैन मैनेजमेंट लेके था, दूसरा सवाल था ये मैन मैनेजमेंट से उभरते हुआ जो स्ट्रेटेजी है, स्टार कल्चर नहीं है, तो आप जो बोले वही मैं बता रहा हूँ। एक ऐसा बंदे को खिला रहा हूँ, और दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज़ वी कैन स्पेंड नेक्स्ट 10 मिनट्स ऑन दिस। मैं हर्षित राणा को टीम में रख दिया, सही है। उसके बाद मैं पूरा सुन लीजिए, मैं उसको भेज देता हूँ। अंशुल कंबोज 145 में काउंटी में बॉल करता है, उसको मैं भेज देता हूँ घर में। उसके बाद हर्षित को भेज के बोलता हूँ नहीं नहीं वो बैकअप था, वो मेरे टीम में नहीं था, वो बैकअप था, जबकि पहले वो डिक्लेयर किया गया था बीसीसीआई वेबसाइट में वो टीम में था। उसके बाद जो व्हेन ही लूजेस हिज फेस ही कॉल्स बैक अंशुल, then he calls back Anshul, and then what happens with Anshul? From a 145 bowler, he lands at Heathrow and bowls at 125. This is going to be one of the biggest mystery of Indian cricket for some time. ये हम लोग आयन से भी पूछेंगे कि वो साइंटिस्ट है, वो दिमाग क्या था कि एक 145 बॉलर वो घर चला गया, उसका कोई स्ट्रेन इंजरी हो गया हिप में, वो आके 125। तो मैं तुम आपको यही पूछा, आप तो यही लेके काम करते हो, ये दिमाग में जो चीज चल रहा है गौतम गंभीर, ये बाकी लोगों का दिमाग में either he is unable to percolate, and being a coach he has to percolate, and if it is not percolating it is this damaging Indian cricket, because काफी सारे डिसीजंस लिया है गौतम गंभीर जो इंडियन क्रिकेट के लिए इन द गोइंग नॉर्थ डायरेक्शन नहीं है। हम स्पेशलिस्ट, और जो हम सब एग्री करते हैं, वो स्पेशलिस्ट को खिला नहीं है, वो T20 बिट्स एंड पीसेस खिला रहा है, और इंडिया बाल बाल बच गए ओवल में बिकॉज ऑफ सिराज एंड प्रसिद्ध, वो बार बार नहीं बचेगा। न्यूजीलैंड सीरीज जो है वो बहुत खतरनाक, आयन ने बताया, न्यूजीलैंड इतना छोटा टीम है लेकिन नो स्टार कल्चर है, वो बहुत बहुत पीटेगा इंडिया को जब जाएंगे, बिकॉज वहां पर टेम्परेचर बहुत ठंड होती है। आई हैव बीन टू न्यूजीलैंड नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स, खतरनाक जगह है पेस बॉलिंग के लिए, और एवरेज बॉलर मैट हेनरी, ट्रेंट बोल्ट बहुत एवरेज, ट्रेंट बोल्ट इज अ गुड बॉलर, बट वो 130 में भी 4 विकेट चटका देंगे। तो अयन आपका दिमाग में क्या लगता है एज एन एआई गाय कि उसका दिमाग इंडियन क्रिकेट के लिए पॉजिटिव वैसे जा रहा है कि दिमाग उसका घूम रहा है, और बाकी लोग बिकॉज सी व्हाट यू सेड ऑफलाइन that because he knows his job is not going at the moment, he wants to take a call and is getting lucky with the call. My question then is, because you only brought the question, is he getting lucky being stupid more than once? Is he getting lucky being stupid? Amit.
So
Achha, Amit first and then Ayan. Yeah,
Amit,
just a second. Amit.
yeah.
अच्छा, एआई में ना हम लोग एक चीज बोलते हैं कि सेंटीमेंट एनालिसिस, ठीक है। तो सेंटीमेंट एनालिसिस मतलब गौतम, मुझे जो लगता है वो थोड़ा ना सेंटीमेंट के साथ जाता है। ये जो अंशुल कंबोज का चीज है ना, अंशुल कंबोज या मुकेश कुमार, ये जो लोग हैं ना, इन लोगों का जो मतलब परफॉर्मेंस है ए लेवल पे, या फिर मतलब जब इंडिया से बाहर गए हैं वो लोग, उन लोगों का परफॉर्मेंस शायद उतना अच्छा नहीं रहा है, मतलब एज व्हाट गौतम वांटेड। नाउ गौतम क्या देखते हैं, सेंटिमेंट मतलब हमारा पब्लिक क्या बोलते हैं या फिर मीडिया क्या बोलते हैं कि हमको इसको खिलाना चाहिए, उसको खिलाना चाहिए। लेकिन गौतम वही करेगा जो उल्टा होगा। सो हम लोग सब बोल रहे थे कि एटलीस्ट कुलदीप यादव को एक टेस्ट तो, एक या दो टेस्ट मिनिमम खेलना चाहिए था, लेकिन एक मैच में भी नहीं खिलाया। तो वो पब्लिक का जो सेंटीमेंट है या फिर हमारा जो मीडिया का सेंटीमेंट है, उसका उल्टा लेके जाते हैं। एंड अगर आप देखते हो कि अंशुल कंबोज का वो पूरा वो जो मतलब डिसीजन था अंशुल कंबोज को, वो टोटली इट वाज टोटली बैफलिंग। मुझे मतलब आई कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड टिल डेट व्हाई अंशुल कंबोज वाज थ्रोन इन फ्रॉम इंडिया व्हेन यू हैड द ऑप्शन ऑफ हर्षित राणा प्लेइंग। आई रियली डोंट नो।
Harshit was with the team. He was sent back.
With the team. So yes, so
I think Amit has got stuck
Amit
somewhere.
has got stuck.
Amit
Yeah, I
has
thought
got
I had
stuck.
got stuck. Okay.
No, Amit has got stuck. I think he's got stuck. Is it?
but at the
He's
end of the
back.
at the end of the day, जैसे मैंने कहा है, वो मतलब शायद वो ऐसे कुछ हमारा टीम में डालना चाहते हैं कि फाइटिंग स्पिरिट या फिर जो भी है, मे बी फ्यूचर कुछ मतलब जब ये जो हमारा होम सीरीज खत्म हो जाएगा, होम सीरीज के बाद हम शायद कुछ ज्यादा बोल पाएंगे इसके बारे में।
So Amit, we are running out of time. Thanks, I understood. But what I'm getting from you is that you yourself, like us, are baffled. What is the call Gautam Gambhir is taking? We don't know to understand. पहले क्या होता था? I'll just give a small example. Azharuddin turning track, Ajit Wadekar. This me and Ayan and Sudip will be able to relate. So that is when the turning track thing started with Venkatpati Raju, Rajesh Chauhan and Anil Kumble. The three spinners. तो जो भी हो, और हम स्पिनर अच्छा खेलते थे, डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट सब खेलते थे, डाल दो 3-0, 3-0, 2-0, 3-0 till 96 when Saurav Rahul, yes, because India didn't have that middle order. तो अजहर ने एकदम सही पकड़ के पूरा अपना फेवर में लेते थे। अब ये गौतम गंभीर, जबकि उनके पास टीम है, बन रहा है, ये ट्रांजिशन में पेप तक बहुत दे रहा है, दिस इज नॉट अ ट्रांजिशन टीम, दिस इज अ गन टीम, दिस इज अ AK-47 टीम, कलाशनिकोव टीम, व्हाटएवर टीम, एंड ऑफ द डे व्हाट ही थिंक्स नो वन अंडरस्टैंड्स. I can understand Sanjay Manjrekar because 50% of the time he fluffs a lot. Manjrekar, I'm being online, on record, I can tell you, I don't understand what Manjrekar says. But then also, Manjrekar, Irfan Pathan, Mohammad Kaif, Sunil Gavaskar, Ravi Shastri, no one is understanding what he's doing. Thank you so much, Amit. On to that, Ayan. Two things. One, is Gautam Gambhir mentally, I'm not saying unstable, but is Gautam Gambhir in a position to take good calls as a red ball coach? And second, my question is, as I've been asking Amit also, his strategical blunders, huge strategic blunders, he might have inculcated the fighting spirit. ये कोई दुविधा नहीं हो सकता है. आप बोल सकते हो, हम भी 20% agree करेंगे कि उसका fighting ability, maybe he has instilled. I don't believe that the fighting ability has come in. Otherwise, India could have won Lords also. मैनचेस्टर ऑल्सो. बट आप मुझे साइंटिस्ट हो, आप मुझे ये बताइए कि आप ये 40 साल से क्रिकेट देख रहे हो, ये गौतम गंभीर को छूट दिया जा रहा है. ही हैज बीन गिवन लीवे, व्हाट वी कॉल ना, अ फेवरेट स्टूडेंट है, उसको आपने एज अ टीचर लीवे दिया. इज दिस लीवे हार्मिंग इंडियन क्रिकेट? अ वेरी डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन, Ayan. And what do you think him as a strategist? Over to you, Ayan.
Yeah, so पहला ये कि I think it is a bit early to say, because I think Indian cricket has passed through a phase where we had stars. मैंने देखो, हम लोग के टाइम में भी स्टार्स थे. We had कपिल देव, गावस्कर, huge stars. But कपिल देव ने जीवन में एक test mein he was dropped, and I'm sure you remember, Rahul, why he was dropped. He played a bad shot against England in 1984, David Gar's team at Delhi. One poor shot, he got caught at long on. Next test, he was dropped at Eden Gardens. And that put a blemish in his career. He would have created a world record of playing 131 tests continuously, which I think nobody would ever have broken. 131 tests continuously, I'm sure nobody would have touched now in these years where you have so much of cricket injuries, all that.
Correct.
But he was dropped. So we had stars, but we also had accountability. Unfortunately, 2010 के बाद वो accountability completely चला गया. Completely chala gaya. You were a star, therefore you stayed. It did not matter how the team or you performed. So that I think has hurt Indian cricket the most. So if somebody would be there, if somebody comes and ends it, I think, Rahul, they would be doing a huge service to Indian cricket. Huge service. And if they actually made this some kind of a norm, that such a very sort of a malevolent atmosphere where if you are a star, you are untouchable, which, remember, has never happened in Indian cricket except for that 2010 to 2023, 8 to 13, 14 years decade who is time pe. Even, in sort of tenure, I think Chappell came, I think Saurav was maybe developing into something like that, but I think Chappell took a very harsh call. Whatever, that I don't want to get into. But the fact is, if that culture has gone, I am all for it. At the same time, I do not think that Test cricket is something where you can get away with making stupid strategical mistakes. You will be caught out. You will be caught out. So abhi jo hai, there is this very interesting interplay jahan pe this guy is trying to make a team and he is trying to make his own team. That own team is important. If he is stupid enough to have his own biases affect the composition of the team, then he'll be found out. See, Test cricket is a very cruel sport. It will catch you, it will just embarrass you. You will be dismissed for 36. Okay. And I can tell you, New Zealand has the capability to do that if you do not pick your best players. Wo hoga. So I would say, wait and watch. This West Indies tour, if they don't smash West Indies, they are doing badly. South Africa will be a test. And that one has to see. Again, you create rank turners. Now it has been established कि हम भी rank turners में बहुत ही नाजुक है. So that will be another test. अभी ये हर्षित राणा etc. Again, see, I am not privy to internal team, whatever, things I don't know. If I see from the outside, this thing that you said, I didn't know this, that Kamboj was bowling at 145, then he came back and bowled at 125. That means he probably had an injury. If he has suppressed it, usko to kabhi nahi khilana nahi chahiye. And if he has purposely suppressed it, I don't know why the team management couldn't dig it out. And he has done it purposely, to usko to pakadna chahiye, right? His integrity is at stake. I don't know.
That is where the criticism for Gambhir came along with Kuldeep, and that is where he is getting so much bottleneck.
See, Kuldeep ka ek thing I'll tell you. See, हमारा last 10-12 years का test में जो खराब performance है, उसका एक बड़ा कारण है कि we have had an enormous tail. You dismiss the first 7 Indians, last 4 is like that. Okay, so Kuldeep is a he's a bunny with a bat, kind of a bunny. So that you have to take into account in pitches which are lively. So that I am not sure whether we can really.
We need, as Saurav Ganguly said yesterday or day before at ITC, to win. You need to take 20 wickets. And you have to, had I been a captain, I would take a risk of a bunny and play because I know he's a match winner. If I play with two extra batters, then I'm defensive. I'm drawing the test match. I'm not winning it by reducing my bowling.
Then actually, Rahul, the second thing comes is the state of the pitch. If you see that it's a sort of there is a possibility of turn in the 3rd day or 4th day, of course you go wide. So that also, the team might have made a call ki this is not a pitch which appears to be spin friendly. See, England is typically not spin friendly. New Zealand is neither. So, we have not had spinners very successful. Of course, Harbhajan was very successful in New Zealand. I think Ashwin has been very good in New Zealand. So wo sab to hai. Ashwin has been good. Prasanna was extremely good. Prasanna won
Prasanna
test matches.
68 test matches. Yes. 69. Best well. 66.
No, 76 was in India, not in New Zealand. But yeah, so whatever. So we have had people successful. So Abhi, there has to be a mix and match. I mean, you have to be able to put your own biases on the back. You will have to dump them if you want the team to succeed. And if the team doesn't succeed, you let your biases, on the rampage, then you will be completely caught. Caught. You will be caught. You just wait and see. So, Abhi, it is again, I feel this is a time where probably that star thing has gone out. And I really will tell you, Rahul, that is the one thing that has damaged Indian Test cricket to a level which has never happened before, where we've had stardom but no accountability. So that was never
Correct.
there. Even Sachin
Correct.
played badly. He used to have a lot of fluff. So the
I
2017, which lost the World Cup, which did
I
not qualify,
agree.
huge fluff they got.
Ayan,
Did
I
they
agree
get
with
it?
you and Amit both on the star culture. I myself think the star culture piece I wrote also in social media that Gautam Gambhir is perhaps the only plus point is he takes away the star culture. But my question to you is the method of doing it. Ravichandra Ashwin,
That was bad.
Kohli, and Rohit. The way he did it, I think both BCCI and Indian general fans did not like it because
See,
India has a
Yeah,
problem of carrying on old war horses. The reason why Kohli played so long because India does
absolutely.
not like tapering with even the old stars. So, which is a bad thing because Australia
That
is
is,
just the opposite.
yes,
But
yes.
the way Gambhir, see, if you had a performance and you throw them off, you're winning 3-0 and chucking people. 3-0, no one would have questioned. But 0-3, 1-3, 2-2, and you chuck off people, and then by the scruff of the net, you save your job. I think it has been
No,
plainly a little too
no, no,
adventurous.
no. But then, Rahul, so you see, if you actually are losing 1-3, 0-3 at home, then you need to take drastic measures. And if the drastic measure is the chucking off of stars, I'm off it. I'm for it. See, if you are
Okay.
losing, if you are winning, then fine. You give them a whatever, you give them
No, no.
some
When
guard of
you
honor.
win, you also
Huh.
know that you have a back cushion of buffer of checking people, which
Yeah,
people have
but
done.
no, but Rahul, they are not effective. You think of it. With those great stars, we lost 0-8 in 8 tests. We lost 1-4 in England. We defeated Australia against a very depleted Australian team, which was probably the worst that India has played ever in Australia. I'm including the 77 series as well. There were no batters there. Smith and
So,
Warner were out,
yeah, but
right?
Ayan, one of the main thing is questions he asked about Gambhir is the way he's handling people. So man management
And
thing is
just
question
so
coming
that
in.
I yeah. So again, just continuing, that's one great proof that the star thing how it was damaging. You can say India was bowled out for 36, its lowest ever total. Then
Correct.
we had a starless team, and look what it did. It it actually gave the best performance of an Indian cricket team post 1971. They defeated a B Indian team, a B team of India, defeated Australia at the Gabatoir. The Gabba is called the Gabatoir. It's an
Yeah.
indefensible, it's a like
Fortress. It's a
inconquerable.
fortress. Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot
Correct.
conquer it.
Conquer it.
Inconquerable fortress with a
I
B
agree.
team. With a B
Mhm.
team, no bowlers almost. Batters. Sundar played for his first time in life. Shardul played for the first time in life. Look what they did, right? So, and then India again went back to losing ways. Again, if I say now you had the stars back, and again India was losing. Actually, star because Rohit did play in Brisbane probably. Rohit did play. But
Okay.
so I'm saying this
Thanks.
star
And we
culture
are,
was an issue.
yeah.
If he has got away with it, there is definitely a problem with some decisions which I do not understand. But there may be
Yeah.
internal team things which I'm not privy knowledge. I'm
Yeah.
not privy to. I
We are not
think
privy.
the South Africa and the New Zealand tour, especially the New Zealand tour,
The
if you
tour
are
is
bad at man management, you will be absolutely butchered. Just
good.
wait
I
and
think
see.
so. You are very right that at Test cricket you is will test you out your ability, skill, and strategy. Thanks, Ayan. Thank you so much, Sudip. To finish off with you in this particular round, I just wanted to understand your take on Gambhir as the man manager and strategies which you brilliantly started off in the last round. And what did you think was Gambhir with overall these weird decisions, New Zealand, Australia, and this England series where there are too many tactical blunders. What is your take now on Gambhir, the man manager and strategist?
I think the problem with his, this his T20 background as a coach that is, looming large in selection of the Test 11. He's just flooding the team with all-rounders and bits and pieces cricketers. So that is, I think, we see now Washington Sundar has clicked, no doubt. But the problem, which we will face in the longer run, we are, including more and more all-rounders, and these are not Kapil Dev type all-rounders. So these all-rounders who are coming into the team, they can either bat or they can. I mean, Washington Sundar, you cannot expect him to run through the opposition. It's a very rarely he will do it, except. And so what is happening is there is some, disbalance in the team selection, which I feel, because in with this type of team, it is very difficult. But more often than not, you cannot run through the opposition twice. So there are lot of tactical blunders like, the Harshit Rana, Anshul Kamboj. I mean, everybody has pointed. I don't want to repeat it once again. So I think there are some problems, strategical problems, which he's not able to right now. It's a totally new team. So maybe a couple of more series and we'll get a more clearer picture. But right now there is a lot of confusion as far as team selection is concerned. And you
Yeah, the
will
one
find
point. Yeah, the one point which
and
coming out, Sudip, from all of our discussion is that he is not a red ball coach. And because he is not a trained coach, there are mistakes which are happening and the mistakes are getting repeated. I think that
yeah,
is the problem that is
this
happening.
will get
Weird discussion.
exposed more and more, when you
Exactly,
face
as
more
Ayan
challenging
rightly said.
situations. Yeah.
Correct. Thank you, Sudip. Thank you so much. The last round, starting with Amit. BCCI continues with Gautam Gambhir. What changes does he need to make against West Indies and New Zealand and South Africa, New Zealand? Say, for example, if BCCI sticks with him and he continues till the West Indies tour, the New Zealand tour. So what are the changes, especially for Amit, in your eyes, against South Africa and New Zealand? What does he need to do to rectify the galling and the very eye-opening mistakes he did against Australia? And because, see, in New Zealand, the bowling failed, the batting failed. Against Australia, the batting failed. Against England, the bowling failed. So different department and catching. 20 close to 18 catches drop. So different departments, which I wrote in my article, different departments India fails. And if that continues, then that means the team management is unable to plug and look the holes. There is some gap. They are unable to mend it. This has never happened with Rahul Dravid. This has never happened with Ravi Shastri. This has never happened with Duncan Fletcher, although Duncan Fletcher was pretty dumb, sorry to say. This has never happened with Anil Kumble. There was a different issue why he went. So and of course, Gary Kirsten was a different league. So from 2011, Gary Kirsten, Duncan Fletcher, Anil Kumble, Ravi Shastri, Anil Kumble, Rahul Dravid. Nothing has happened where repeated same mistakes have happened. It is like you are pointing out as a teacher, the guy is the first boy of the class, but making mistakes to become the first boy because the rest is so bad. So for you, Amit, what he needs to do so that we don't have a discussion again, an episode like this, to understand what because he's made a huge lot of tactical errors. Against West Indies, we're expecting him to win. If he doesn't, then it's absolute doomsday for him if he can't win against West Indies. But given that he wins against West Indies, what does he need to do against South Africa? Again at Eden Gardens, which is going to be a real tricky ground. Because Saurav Ganguly, by the time you pointed out in the last episode, will become CAB president. If Saurav Ganguly becomes CAB president, Gautam Gambhir will not get the pitch he wants. Very clear. He will not get what he wants. So that's a tricky question. What does Gautam Gambhir need to do to take out pitch factor and everything to win against South Africa and to win against New Zealand? Amit.
Yeah. So, see, I have three. To keep it short, I want to highlight 3 points what he needs to do. First of all, I think the most important thing is the pitch, and he must try to see whether the pitch is true or not. So, when I say whether the pitch is true or not, the pitch should be expected to turn from day 3 onwards, not from day 1. Rank turner, you create rank turners and he will fall on his own grave, I personally feel. So an average spinner can look like mighty Bishan Singh Bedi. So that is a big no-no. There should not be rank turners. So the batsman and the bowlers will have fair amount of chance to kind of get into the game. This is the first point. The second point, I think he should try and identify the set of players who will be kind of performing for India in the New Zealand series. So it can be, what should I say, a dress rehearsal for the New Zealand series.
So, Amit, so you think now that selection comes, so you think, which we discussed in the last episode on the Dilip Trophy preview, do you think Kuldeep Singh, Arshdeep Singh and Abhimanyu Vishwaran comes in place of Prasidh Krishna, Mohammad Siraj, And if Siraj plays, Prashid Krishna goes, and I think who goes? Two people. Two people. I think Shardul goes or Nitish goes. So do you think Kuldeep and Ishwaran play? Yes or no?
No, Ishwaran, I don't see Ishwaran is going to play. The batting lineup, they did reasonably well. So no need of actually, changing the batting order or the batting
So
like batting
Saurav
lineup.
Ganguly has said Abhimanyu Ishwaran in place of Sai Sudarshan. Very clearly said that Sai Sudarshan is not okay. Abhimanyu should play. Your take.
I still do not agree with Saurav. Why? See, I know that coming from Saurav Ganguly with that amount of pedigree, if I am not in line, or let's say if I am not abiding by what he is saying, maybe people will criticize me. But I still do not find Abhimanyu Ishwan to have that X factor which will help him to succeed at the test level. Maybe he can prove me wrong. Once he gets the chance, he can score bang with hundreds and double hundreds, and he can prove me wrong. I'm absolutely okay with that criticism for that. But so far, whatever I have seen of Abhimanyu Ishwaran, he lacks big match play, and which Sai Sudarshan, being at GT,
Big
he
match
knows how to
temperament is
play
something which a lot of people said, right? Okay.
big match temperament is very important. So I will not tamper too much with the batting lineup. What I will do is, if I were Gautam Gambhir, I will try to figure out the people who will serve me New Zealand. If I need a spin bowling wicket taker, I would go with Kuldeep Yadav in place of even Washington Sundar. I see Washington. You cannot just if you think that Washington Sundar is your better batsman than Karun Nair or Sai Sudarshan, play him at 3. I don't care. Play him as a proper batsman. But we need specialists in Test cricket. If Kuldeep Yadav can be your main spinner, wicket taking spinner, so be it. He can turn the ball on any pitches. So Kuldeep Yadav fits as the role of the only spinner. Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar, you play as a pure batsman.
You think Arshdeep comes in your scheme of things?
Yes. I think we need a variety. So Bumrah will not play against West Indies. So Arshdeep Singh, Prashid Krishna. If Siraj doesn't play, perfectly fine. Then we have Akashdeep, we have Arshdeep Singh, and we also have Prashid Krishna to bowl medium pace for us. And we'll also look, or we can also get a chance to look at Kuldeep Yadav, how he performs in Dilip Trophy first. And if he performs well in those matches, he will be an automatic choice for for the West Indies and South Africa series. So the 2 points that I've mentioned, like one is to prepare good pitches, good standard pitches. The second one is that prepare a set of players who will perform for you in New Zealand. And the third, but very important, I think, is that if you think that Anshul Kamboj is good enough, or if you think that Harshit Rana is good enough, or Nitish Reddy is good enough, play all of them at least before going to New Zealand to see how they're capable of in performing, but the pitches are not conducive for their kind of style of play.
So you think Arshdeep also doesn't feature immediately into your team? Right now, he does not.
Arshdeep, yes, he does. Arshdeep, Prashid Krishna, and Akashdeep. This should be your first line seamers.
So Bumrah doesn't play home series. So you are not saying Mukesh Kumar, because Saurav Ganguly again said Mukesh should play.
I think Mukesh Kumar we can try out in the white ball games. He has got a good temperament. He can bowl wide Yorkers. He can be a good option in the ODIs along with the T20s. But as of now in Test cricket, maybe in conditions which might be very suitable for his kind of bowling, he can be looked up to. But at this point of time, I personally feel that we should go with Arshdeep. He gives you a left arm option. Then we have Prashid Krishna. I think because of his performance in the last Test match against England.
So you are saying Arshdeep, Prashid Krishna, Akashdeep,
and Akash. Yes.
So where does Mohammad Siraj go?
Mohammad Siraj and Bumrah will be rested, I personally feel, against West Indies.
Okay, you're saying that's a call. Mohammad Siraj to be rested against West Indies, but then Siraj comes back against South Africa.
South Africa, and if Siraj comes back in, and then see, it will be a toss between Akashdeep and Prashid Krishna. So Siraj comes back automatically in.
So before I move on to Ayan, so your main take is Gautam Gambhir should be stable with the selections and horses for courses, which he did not do in a specialized job like Test cricket.
Yes.
Horses for courses. So you have no problem with Nishit Reddy or Shardul, but you think that they should be played instead of chopping.
Yes. If you think that they are your future players, they should be utilized in home conditions as well. I don't see. Yes, they only play the overseas matches
against South Africa in a home series with 3 spinners. I think Washington Sundar, Jadeja, and Kuldeep, and one more thing, Akshar Patel. I have a feeling Akshar will somehow come in. So
if he comes, then we probably have to kind of rejuggle our playing combination. But in that case, I mean, our Nitish Reddy doesn't fit in. But you have to play Nitish Reddy before going to New Zealand. You cannot just say that only New Zealand he will play, only England he will play.
New Zealand, yeah, because we have to have the bowling all-rounder ready before we hit New Zealand. Because otherwise, I think New Zealand tour is a litmus test, as we all are pointing out. Thank you so much, Amit.
Yes.
Thank you. Over to you, Ayan. What does Gautam Gambhir has to do right to gospel this myth of being a very unstable guy in his mind?
So, see, very clearly, Test cricket is about stability. If you want a good team, you need a stable team. You cannot have musical chairs. Okay. And the choice typically is whether you play 6 batsmen or 7 batsmen, typically. And so whether you pick 4 genuine bowlers or 4 bowlers, 5 bowlers, or 4 bowlers plus 1 all-rounder and some bits and pieces type. Now, among the bowlers, the crucial choice is whether you pick 3 spinners or 2 spinners. In Indian conditions, if you have a rank turner, you might go for 3 spinners, but then the issue becomes that many times that 1 spinner gets underbowled. So, for example, in other times we had Kumble, Chauhan, and Raju. But then they were all 3 different bowlers. But so each of them would get a break, and the pace bowling Srinath somehow managed, and Prasad also sometimes he was dropped as well. Whatever, Agarkar, all that. So in India, you have the luxury of actually playing 5 bowlers. Because typically, our issues are mostly against the moving and bouncing ball, and Indian pitches are not so much like that. So the first 5 batsmen are often enough to pose a pretty commanding total. Okay. Now, of course, if you have a pitch which is like the 2006 Nagpur pitch, which Saurav Ganguly himself became, he was sacrificed. Basically, his career got hampered because of that pitch, where, do you remember? 2004, sorry.
2004,
not
yeah.
6, 4.
In which he didn't play the first test.
He didn't play.
He didn't play.
Thus, no, that Nagpur test he went out. Adam Gilchrist actually commented that, wow, this looks like Adelaide. Okay, and that happened. I'm sure you are aware, Rahul, is because of the tussle that was going on in the Indian cricket board
between Jagmohan Dalmia and Shashank Manohar. We know that.
They sacrificed Indian cricket because of that. Because that series we lost. Of course, the Chennai test, the last day was washed out, and India should have won.
Yeah, that is a series in which Jagmohan Dalmia's power started waning, and that is where the beginning of the downfall of Saurav Ganguly started.
Yes,
very, very true.
India lost the Nagpur test because we gave them a pitch which was from their backyard. I hope him as a CAB president would not repeat what he himself suffered for the sake of the country.
No, that's what we are discussing, that Saurav becomes the CAB president and the South Africa test is in December.
I hope because of his, desire to put down Gambhir, he makes a pitch where India loses. I'm sure that will not happen.
But I think that West Indies, the South Africa test at Eden is going to be a real tough test for Gautam Gambhir.
So what I would say is that against West Indies, you should check your reserve bench. Okay, you check out your reserve bench. Against South Africa, you put your best 11 down. The thing is, 2 spinners or 3 spinners.
But Ayan, the resting Siraj, just 2 test matches. This is again a WTC fallacy, which are not part of this discussion. But just 2 test matches in South Africa, is it a good time to test your bowling all-rounders, like Amit said? Nitish and Shardul, 2 tests देख के हम क्या उसको New Zealand लेके जाएंगे? If they're undone and underprepared, then what?
Again, straight.
You understand my question? Undone. The only 2 test matches. Yeah.
Yes. Rahul, our best bowling in test matches is undoubtedly Bumrah, Siraj. Those 2 should be there. Third bowler, as per what I saw here, Akashdeep, I think is the best. I saw.
We are more or less agreeing, and last episode you were not there, we are more or less agreeing that Mohammad Shami has come to the end of his career.
Yes, so he's not very unfit. I mean, he does not look like a cricketer.
He doesn't look like a cricketer.
Okay,
Correct.
as a competitive cricketer. So what I'm saying is here against England, I'm sorry, against West Indies, probably you check out whether, in the absence of Bumrah, who is actually
Correct.
surely not playing all tests by whatever
Yeah.
choice, I don't know. I still find it baffling, because you're earning crores of money, right?
Correct.
And this
Correct.
is the time where your personal fitness is important, but at the same time, the country should win. Right, Gavaskar
Correct.
keeps on saying, right, your privilege, it's a privilege to play for India. So you
Correct.
are conserving
Absolute.
your
Absolute.
bowler and you are losing tests. If
Right.
that happens, that is bad. Anyway, so this is the time. I think West Indies, you sort of look at your bench strength,
So basically,
deciding on the pitch.
West Indies is brand strength.
Yes,
Then South Africa tour becomes, and all of us decide, becomes a very, very difficult series then.
it's a
Because
difficult.
South Africa, if he loses and then still he
Yes.
keeps his job, probably where New Zealand will drive the nail in the coffin.
Yes, but,
Iron.
but I would feel that if Siraj wants to play, he should
Hmm.
be allowed to play against West Indies. If he wants to play, I think he can be allowed to play because continuity is also important.
Yeah, our roving
I
reporter
think
Sahib will be more, I think, in a
continuity
position
is
to comment
important.
on
See,
that.
I
But
don't know.
Siraj, mind you, 185 overs. Siraj has nothing in his
That is
legs.
okay. If he wants rest, he absolutely deserves to get rest. And
Okay.
I'm fine. But then you have to take a call whether you want two spinners or three spinners. There should be in India, you can play with five bowlers straight. You can have
Straight.
six
So
batsmen,
you
five
and
bowlers.
Amit agree that India, it has to be five bowlers. In
Yes.
New Zealand,
At
it
four
can be
bowlers.
7-4. It can be 7-4.
Yes, yes.
So you are
And
basically,
the all-rounders are crucial in New Zealand.
so
You
you are
need,
basically going the
ah,
Saurav Ganguly way, what he used to do in
yes,
Australia, 7-4.
I think so.
Straight the Saurav Ganguly way.
Yes.
So you are not going the Dhoni way. You are not going the Dhoni way.
But that you look at the success, you look at Saurav Ganguly's success and Dhoni's
Success.
success. We were
Correct.
hammered. Dhoni has the worst record. I am
Worst
on
record,
record
overseas record as a
abroad.
captain. Yeah. Okay,
Worst.
worst.
And do you think he gets the accountability for that? Does he take accountability? Is he
No,
given the
he does not.
accountability?
No,
Does
no.
anybody say that he's the worst test captain India ever
Absolute.
had?
The
We
statistics
say
says he's the worst. Absolute right. So you agree with Amit? I also agree. West South Africa, it has to be a right call. Gambhir has to get his combination right.
yes.
Otherwise, I'm afraid to say BCCI, as Sudip rightly pointed out, BCCI has ruthlessly thrown out people, even how powerful they've become in the system or outside. He now has the backing of a lot of people, but the backing will cease to continue once delivery doesn't happen. In
Yes.
all spheres of
I
life,
hope
Ayan,
so.
you also know. Yeah, we hope so that the
hope so.
delivery. Yeah, because Gautam Gambhir over a period of time, how much he can prevent the shield, because he's been shielded because by this T20 success and ODI success in between test matches he plays white ball, people forget. Private memory is very short. But I think this is
Rahul, one thing we have to remember, last decade, this did not happen. We
No.
kept on losing overseas badly and nothing happened. So I don't know whether things have changed now, I
Correct.
don't know.
I
If
don't
it
know.
is
We
changed,
don't know.
well and good.
But the way he's antagonized a lot of people, that is where things are going wrong for
Maybe.
him. And yeah,
Maybe.
because Anshul Kamboj 145 and 125, no one has been able to explain. I've been talking to a lot of people, no one has been able to explain why Anshul Kamboj. The last question, Sudip, the same thing to you before we wind up. Your take on how Gautam Gambhir saves his job. Straight.
No, so first of all, first thing what he has to do is the fix up this selection problems. This, the number 3 spot. This has to be fixed before they go to New Zealand. So South Africa will be a litmus test. Either you play Sai Sudarshan or you try out Abhimanyu Ishwaran or Karun Nair.
Who you
But
think
whoever
should be there at 3? Who you think should be 3? Who?
I think given his age, given the age, I think Sai Sudarshan, I think he will make the cut. If I'm Mane, Sai Sudarshan has a more higher probability of playing. But then again, I don't know. They may try Abhinamanu Ishwaran in Eden Test. If Sai fails, in against West Indies, they might try out. So it all depends, but they have fixed up this problem before the New Zealand tour. Number 2 is, Gambhir, what he has to do, he has to do away with his, strong likes and dislikes towards players.
Yes, that
He's
is
now
the point.
he is now the father figure. Being the coach of
Correct.
the Indian cricket team, you cannot afford to have, strong likes and dislikes towards players and buyers.
Correct.
We all know that he has a strong dislike for Rishabh Pant. You know,
Yes, we know
this is
that.
an open secret. This is an open
Yeah,
secret.
I have written in that article when a journalist asked him about Pant's twin century, he stopped
Huh,
him in between and said that
yeah,
this Gill, you should talk
Gill.
about Gill.
So
And that has been
this is
highlighted in media like anything.
I
Yeah,
don't know what kind of attitude is this. I mean, this is
correct. That was a
baffling. This
very
kind
wrong
of
attitude. Very wrong
एक
attitude.
एक
I think
कहावत है ना कि
that is a
देखिए
bad man management skill.
एक
That is a
कहावत
very
है ना
poor man
देखिए
management.
एग्रेशन ठीक होता है लेकिन
Hmm.
बदतमीजी पर नहीं जाए बस
हाँ, correct.
बदतमीजी
एकदम
पर नहीं
एकदम.
जाए एकदम एग्रेशन तक रहना चाहिए
I
हमको
think ये आयन जो बताया ना आप ही बताया शायद कि
हाँ
इंडिया टीम अभी यस मैन पे फिर चलना शुरू हो गया जैसे ग्रेग चैपल का टीम में ये काफी सिमिलरिटी दिखाई दे रहा
हाँ
है ही
लेकिन
वांट्स पीपल हु विल बी सिटिंग एंड स्टैंडिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू हिज whims that I think if he does it if he does and we are not sure he's doing it but
so
if
we are
he does it
replacing
then that's very dangerous.
so we are replacing star culture with yes man culture
Yes man culture which is again a very dangerous
so
culture.
this is also a dangerous precedent huh? Very
Very
dangerous
dangerous
signs
precedent. Very dangerous precedent.
so
So you
I
are
think
saying Sai Sudarshan plays 3. That is a contentious call, which Amit also says. Abhimanyu Ishwaran doesn't find a place. Fair, and I think Abhimanyu will play. Knowing the BCCI politics, he will get a chance. Otherwise, Gautam Gambhir's position becomes very untenable. With Saurav Ganguly coming back as CAB president, he will not keep quiet. I'm telling you, he will not keep quiet. I know Saurav Ganguly, so he is going to give a piece of run for Gambhir.
I
So
think he has
I
to pull up
still
his
feel,
socks Gambhir
yeah,
he has
Gambhir
to
to
pull
pull
up
up.
his socks
And
as
so
a test
what we,
match
yeah, so बैटिंग तो ठीक है पूरा साफ क्लियर है पंत आ जाएगा अगर पंत नहीं है तो जुरेल खेलेंगे वो हम डिस्कस किए लास्ट
हाँ
टाइम
हाँ
Pant is still carrying a fractured toe. It is recovering. He might not play the one test match against West Indies, but he will come against South Africa. So bowling आप बताइए क्या आपको लग रहा है कि गंभीर को बचा देगा इस सीरीज में bowling?
गंभीर को देखिए यहाँ पे तो बीइंग इंडियन पिचेस आई थिंक दे विल गो फॉर 3 स्पिनर्स जडेजा वॉशिंगटन सुंदर एंड कुलदीप यादव these two
कुलदीप.
I think and two
तो
pacers I
bowling में
mean
शायद आपका प्रसिद्ध एंड आकाशदीप होगा सीधा अगर रेस्ट ले तो
if Siraj is rested then Prasid and I think they should try once Harshit Rana in the test
अच्छा you come up with Harshit Rana. Okay.
एक
Then
टेस्ट या दो
एक
टेस्ट एटलीस्ट वेस्ट इंडीज के अगेंस्ट में एक बार ट्राई कर देना चाहिए फिर अगर ही परफॉर्म्स वेल बिकॉज माने ही हैड द पोटेंशियल ही शोड लॉट ऑफ प्रॉमिस इन द इनिशियल डेज बट
लॉट ऑफ
somehow he
प्रॉमिस तो आपका
but
निशित रेड्डी भी दिखाए थे भैया
नीतीश
नीतीश रेड्डी
रेड्डी हाँ
इतना प्रॉमिस दिखा के पूरा उड़ा दिया पूरा इंग्लैंड में
and one thing this Nitish Reddy ko if you are really serious about having माने giving him a
ग्रूमिंग रेड्डी या
हाँ तो इसको वेस्ट साउथ अफ्रीका provided he's fit I'm not very sure how fit he is
Yeah, Amit has said the same thing because if you want to persist,
then
play
you have to
him
take him for the
irrespective of
South
he fails
Africa
or
tour.
fails. Yeah, you have to play.
You give him some practice, some kind of
Ayan
practice before.
says 6-5 India, 7 for abroad, which I agree with totally. That is
Yeah, I
where
agree.
Gautam
I
Gambhir is
agree.
going
I fully
wrong.
agree.
तो
I
आपको
fully
क्या
agree.
लगता है नीतीश या शार्दुल को इंडिया में चांस मिलेगा? No, शार्दुल's career
शार्दुल
is
को तो
over.
शार्दुल को छोड़ दीजिए बिल्कुल आप नीतीश को लीजिए
अच्छा तो
शार्दुल
नीतीश कौन सा जगह पे खेलेगा आप बताइए नीतीश कहाँ पे खेलेगा 3 स्पिनर होगा तो कहाँ खेलेगा नीतीश आप बताइए तब तो 6-5 हो रहा है
नहीं
नीतीश का तो जगह नहीं
नहीं
बन रहा है भैया
नहीं फिर आपको फिर एक यू हैव टू डिसाइड बिटवीन वॉशिंगटन सुंदर एंड नीतीश रेड्डी अगेंस्ट
वही स्पिनर एक
साउथ
कम खेलना पड़ेगा तो देन आई हैव टू गो बैक
एक
टू
स्पिनर
व्हाट इज
अगर
योर
आप
टेक ऑन दिस या
one
जा रहा है
spinner
उनके
if you
पास
don't
वापस
play less then you cannot accommodate Nitish Reddy
नीतीश
in
रेड्डी
the
सो
team
बेसिकली नीतीश इज अंडर लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चन और नाउ
So,
का
at
क्या
least
व्यू
in
है
India
so
आपका क्या
I
व्यू
believe, I really, I am, Washington looks to me long-term investment, really, because he can play in times of adversity. That is what is the greatest thing for it in Test cricket. Okay,
Ayan I
so their
अच्छा ओके
bowling
या
also
प्लीज
and also he has a good, sort of a good dusra. He has a good dusra. So that is
Washington took 7 wickets against New Zealand but उसके बाद उसका bowling ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं अभी तक
no, but England, I was seeing actually England, I think the third test or something, he managed to get 3 wickets, I think, and he
yeah
bowled generally well. Okay, but as Amit says, I am even fine
yeah
for having him up down. I mean, up the order. He can play as a specialist batsman because the way he has played till now, and he has shown a extremely good mix of batting, I mean, defense and attack. See, Pant. Whatever you say, Pant has sometimes, I mean, he gets out in Test cricket with the most bizarre and irresponsible shots. You remember Gavaskar was so upset, he said he's playing for Australia. So that has to be, that's not something that you can trivialize actually, Rahul.
correct
Pant has a massive issue. I mean, this is not how you play Test cricket. And
absolutely
see, in our times, if he tried to play a falling sweep shot to a pace bowler and then got caught at third man in a match where you were trying to survive, he would be out for the next 2 seasons.
correct
That
Cricket
one
has
shot
correct
could have
changed,
gone.
right?
Where is the accountability? there, right?
No,
So he
cricket
has to
has
be talked
changed,
to.
right? I mean,
Somewhat.
yeah,
Now he's better.
cricket has changed. I mean, see,
Uh, uh,
not only Rishabh Pant. I mean, if you see, Ben Duckett got out to Akashdeep playing a reverse scoop.
Reverse
I
so
mean,
scoop.
in the
there,
last
there,
series.
that
So
is what I
cricket
think.
has changed.
Amit, we are talking about at times the insensibility of baseball as well, right? Because this baseball, how much success has it given England? Because there is this ultimate
Sam
thoughtlessness,
Costas.
right? They keep
नहीं
on playing the same type
नहीं
of
मुझे
cricket
मुझे
and
एक
they
चीज
keep
बोलना है
losing.
इधर.
हाँ.
मुझे एक ही चीज बोलना है इधर. अभी
Hmm.
ये जो अकाउंटेबिलिटी ये सब चीजें ना, ये मॉडर्न डे क्रिकेट में जो लोग T20 खेल के आ रहे हैं इंडियन टीम में, मुझे जो लगता है कि अब सिर्फ नॉट ओनली इंडियन टीम, कहीं से भी जो भी खिलाड़ी आ रहे हैं, ये लोग अकाउंटेबिलिटी के छोड़ के इम्पैक्ट देखते हैं. बेन डकट को आप देख लीजिए, या फिर सैम कॉन्स्टेंस ऑस्ट्रेलिया के, वो
Mind you,
मतलब
Sam
रिवर्स स्वीप.
Constance, Amit, Sam Constance has been a huge failure in West Indies. Now his question, Ashes में उनका participation एकदम doubt हो गया है. He's under a lot of
हाँ,
stress to
ना
get.
आई एम जस्ट सेइंग,
Australia.
आई एम जस्ट सेइंग कि अभी ये जो अकाउंटेबिलिटी, ये शॉट आप मत खेलो. एक प्लेयर का नॉर्मल गेम अगर आप चेंज करना चाहते हो, वो भी सीरीज के अंदर और सीरीज चलने के टाइम पे, तब ऐसा नहीं चलता. अभी पहले पहले का टाइम जमाना अलग था. अभी आपको मतलब आप ऐसे शॉट खेल के अगर रन करोगे तो पीपल बोलेंगे कि बहुत अच्छा है. अगर आप आउट हो जाओगे तो गाली देंगे. तो हमको थोड़ा बैलेंस होना चाहिए. एनीवेज,
देखो,
So
मुझे
I
जो ये
think
लगता है.
what
एक ही चीज है, सी न्यूजीलैंड एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड साउथ अफ्रीका एज वेल, who are probably the most consistent cricket teams now. उधर में, I mean, Sam Constance is, I think, a one-off. I mean, you don't see Australian players, you see Labuschagne or Smith, or they don't really indulge in these kind of. I mean, they play depending on the situation. So that is what I'm saying. The situation demands that you survive. That is here. Remember that a draw is still an honorable option. This is the only format which allows a draw. Now, if you say that Test cricket may draw ud jayega, there is a different thing. And the way T20, the way it has come in, you don't get draws too much. But it's still, for example, what we had in the fourth Test, that was a very honorable result for India. What we had at Sydney was a very honorable result. So somehow the current thing, they don't believe in draws. But I think draws are there. You cannot forget the importance and the availability of draws.
Agree.
correct. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We finally come to the end of this wonderful discussion on what ails Gautam Gambhir and what he should do to survive. The more important question is to survive as a coach, because in the last so many years of Indian cricket, with the coach culture, which started from 90s, before that it was the manager culture. In 96, when Sandeep Patel was a coach to England in 96, very famous tour where Saurav and Rahul made a debut. In the last 30 years, Indian cricket has gone through many lows and highs, but none coach other than Greg Chappell has been under so much of criticism and scrutiny as Gautam Gambhir, primarily due to his ways. He may be a dictator. We are not in the right place to say so. But the questions that Indian cricket leaves are very, very dire, because the calls that he has taken as an individual are baffling. And that baffles not only us as fans and analysts, but a lot of people who have played the game at the highest level. So I think the panel unanimously concludes and decides that West Indies, India has to win. There's no-brainer for that. And West South Africa could be the tour which I think will make or break Gautam Gambhir. If he does not perform in South Africa, he might go to West Indies. He might go to New Zealand as a coach, but I think probably it's going to be the last series. We can safely say New Zealand is probably going to be the last series that is going to be the coach, because the questions are asked mainly on the way he's handled the team, irrespective of the team doing a 2-2. And I think Shubman Gill, from being a very naive captain, has evolved personally as a captain and has been showing signs where he can take on Gambhir's so-called persona also. On that note, I would like to thank all of you. The discussion point, what we can't finally come to conclusion is Gautam Gambhir survives, but survives by the scruff of the neck. One series gone, especially South Africa gone, we could be looking down the road. Absolutely, because Indian cricket is merciless, as Sudip rightly said. In the history of Indian cricket, many big people have been thrown out very unceremoniously, very, very unceremoniously. So on that note, a very, very big thanks to Ayan, Amit and Sudip. And we look forward to joining you in the middle of the next week. We have two big episodes lined up with two celebrities. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We had a wonderful discussion on Gautam Gambhir, the coach, the man, the strategist, the principle, the ways, myriad ways. And I think we are only looking forward to the next two series, which will probably determine his length and longevity as Indian coach. Thank you so much. Have a
Yeah.
very good
Thank you.
evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.